Weekend is over. We get to Money Monday. So today we talk business, we talk money. So we will be talking about SMEs in Kenya today. So before we get to the topic and before I introduce my guest to you in studio, make sure you go online and text us and send us, your registration. Tell us you're present and you're watching, because we're going to have a very interesting topic right here and a very interesting conversation with Dr. Naomi. She is Dr. Naomi Kagone, a trainer, a researcher, and a CEO of Poise Business Development Consulting Limited. And she has a soft spot in SMEs. That's why she's here in studio today to talk about SMEs in Kenya. What are the things that are affecting them? What are the things, that are making them not do their business effectively? And of course, for you right there at home who is ready to start a business, or is looking forward to start a business one day. She's a business consultant, so she'll be able to tell us more about it. And last week she had an exhibition right here in Thika, and she'll be able to tell us more about what's the inspiration behind that, connecting government agencies, private sectors, and financial institutions together, as well as learning institutions. So she'll be able to tell us more about that. Karibu sana.
So thank you.
Welcome to the studios.
Thank you, Amboy, for this opportunity. And I'm glad to be here today, more on Monday, to talk about money.
Yeah,
and
talk
more importantly,
about money.
on how to support SMEs so that they can make that good money.
You look so passionate about SMEs. Where did all this come from?
Oh, thank you so much. In fact, I'm very passionate about SMEs by the fact that SMEs, they do business, and business is life. So a matter of life is what gives me a lot of passionate when I'm talking about SMEs. Because I believe that when business are done well, in terms of in a very dignified manner, that's the name poise, people will live a life of dignity, which was initially even a God ordained it.
Wow.
So when the business is done the way it's supposed to be done, the people prosper in their life and they live a better life. So I'm very passionate about SMEs. Yes.
So poise, where did this come from? Where, from the beginning, of course, God ordained, but what does poise mean? First of all, poise, P-O-I-S-E.
Okay, thank you so much. The poise is synonym to dignity, dignified life. And what this one means is that poise is out there to give consultancy services for people to be able to do their businesses in dignified manner, in legit manner, so that they can live a life of they can live a full life and life of full of dignity. So it's about dignity. And the reason why these things came to our mind about poise is that you find that most of people, when think about doing business, they think that it's such a difficult thing. It's such a thing that is like you're supposed to fight with, whereby we don't remember that when you do your business today well, you have lived your life well. If you don't do your business today well, you have not lived your life well. So poise is out there to ensure that our good SMEs there, our committed SMEs there, our passionate business people outside there, they do their businesses well, and therefore they'll submit that they have lived their life well. Yes.
Were you brought up in a business, family, whereby you had a business family, and therefore, when you grew up, you decided, what, let me take it on?
Yes, my late dad was a business person. He owned a shop. Yes.
So as people say outside there, where you are brought in, like, sometimes determines how your future goes, like you've decided to go the business way.
That's true, but on the other hand, life is determined by nature and nurture. One, depending with the environment you're brought up in, it can shape you to be the kind of person you are, and also the nature inside you, what you are passionate about it. I want to say that partly I was brought up in a family whereby my parents were business people, and also I've learned or have exposed myself into a business world through research and learning more about business. So I can say that my passionate about business, it's both nature and nurture.
All right. Yes. Wow. Now let's get to the, exhibition that happened in Thika, a very big event, First of all, how did you get Safaricom to sponsor you? I mean, it's a big company.
Oh, first I want really to appreciate that Safaricom came on board as our main sponsor. And they came on board because it's one of the organizations that are also very passionate about SMEs.
That's right.
I'm glad that they believe in the potential of the SMEs. So when we sat down with my other directors and we were looking around and see that because there's need, maybe I'll say further on that, there's need in support of the SMEs, we looked around and see who are the other like-minded organizations. And Safaricom was one of them. We approached them and they were kind enough to come on board. Yes.
What was the objectives of all that? I believe it started all the way from Wednesday to Friday. Yes. What was the main objective? You hosting the event, having organized, I'm sure you spent, a lot of time, organizing the whole thing and of course inviting all those institutions to come over. What was the objective of all this?
Thank you so much. I want to say that it is true. It took a lot of energy and a lot of time, but we are very passionate about it. The objective of this expo, we had a trade week thika that had ended on Friday. It was a thought that came in after we did a baseline survey on the information gap. Information gap in terms of the existence of government agencies that are there, that are put in place to support the development of SMEs. And we found that when we did a baseline survey, that most of the SMEs outside there, they are really struggling to make the end meets, struggling so much without an understanding that there are agencies that are set aside by the government to support them. So for example, those SMEs who want to venture into export, for example. You find that somebody is just struggling on where to start in export market or to venture in export, yet there's an agency that supports export, for example. Somebody is really struggling in terms of how do I have my products get to the shelf in the supermarket in terms of getting the standard mark of standardization. Some SMEs are struggling with that, yet there's an agency that is supposed to do that. You find that, for example, you also have our youth outside there who have very innovative ideas. Somebody have an idea, but they don't know how to move it to the next level. Yet we have an agency that is set up by the government where you only need to knock the door, you get there and say, this is my idea. And somebody will pick your idea and hold you, make sure that it's patented, make sure that it's given the mark of standardization and it's get to the market. But the that our SMEs, they don't have that information. So we came in as a poise, as consultants, to bridge that gap. We got the SMEs, we got the government agencies and also private agencies, and we provided them a platform for 3 days where they came together under a roof and they exchanged all the information. And you're happy to see that most of the SMEs, they benefited from free advisory consultancies from these government agencies. And also we are happy to see that we also got a chance to demystify the government agencies. Sometimes SMEs sit here and feel that the government is up there. And they feel that for us, we are just on our own and the government is there. Forgetting that the government is there to serve the SMEs and SMEs also they are there to serve the government. So we are happy that we're able to provide that platform. Yes.
Well, not talking of the government, what is the government doing, to help the SMEs, in terms of in any way, especially you said that they were able to get free consultancy from the government agencies. Now, apart from the expo, what's the government doing for SMEs?
Okay, thank you so much, Wambui, for that question. The government does not do any business. The government is an enabler of business. And what the government does is to provide a conducive environment for the business people to do their businesses. I want to say that the government is doing so much to support SMEs or to provide that conducive environment, starting from ensuring there is peace. If there is no peace, the business cannot be done.
That's right.
There's security, and also the security. The government is doing so much to enhance security. For example, even during our expo, we found there are some security men just walking around. It's not it's not us who had invited them, but it's the role of the government. So the government is doing so much to ensure that the environment to do business is very conducive. One of it is to ensure there is security, there are policies that are put in place to ensure that the environment is conducive for the SMEs to do their businesses. And also the issue of those agencies the government ensure that those agencies they are facilitated even financially for them to offer the services to SMEs. So the government is doing so much to support the SMEs because it appreciates that SMEs are the drivers of the economy.
That's right. And you said that during our interview last time as well. So what can you say was, how did the exhibitors, benefit individually, especially those who attended, benefit, in terms of value addition for those who attended?
Okay, thank you so much, Wamboi. As I have said that the expo was to bridge the gap. One of the benefits that SMEs got, they got the free advisory services. They got to know the physical allocation of those agencies. Then I'm happy to report that there are some of the SMEs that were exhibiting very innovative products. And the staff from the Safaricom was able to ask one of our lady who was really doing a better thing of supporting young people who have passion in using machine. And he was able to tell that lady she need to register in a product called Dotozetu so that her dream can be scaled up, can be supported, can be helped to scale up her dream. Also, there was a person who was exhibiting the product that are made from wood, very innovative product.
That's right.
And also they were told how to get into that program. So I want to say that out of that expo, there are some of the SMEs whereby their products will be scaled up out of that platform. So I would say that is one of those are some of the benefits.
Oh, that's right. And I remember those kids who are doing the sewing, very innovating at 13-year-old, and the other one was 12-year-old, being able to make them. Wow, that was wonderful, guys. We're going to do a feature story on that, and we'll be able to show you how they actually do it. Very interesting story right there. So, talking of especially just thinking about those children who are just young, doing the business, they have a talent, or the sewing and all that with their grandmother over there, and maybe somebody do not have the enough capital to do the business. How are the loans for SMEs, especially in Kenya? How does it go? Maybe for somebody who don't know, where do I start? Where do I go? Okay,
thank you so much, Wamboi. You'll find that sometimes we kill our dream or our idea at a very early stage, whereby somebody have a very innovative idea, and the next thing is you think about the money, and because you don't see money anywhere, you just kill your idea. I want to tell our people outside there, when you have that innovative idea, we have banks that are willing to fund a feasible or a bankable business plan, for example. We also have government agencies like Micro Small Enterprise Authority that gives grant. So it's not a must that you first of all think on how to go for the loan. You can first source for people who are funding, who are ready to support a bankable business plan, or you look for grants. But it's very unfortunate that most of our people outside there, they don't have that information, that I can go outside knocking this and this door for me to get a grant. And because we only believe that we can only have our seed, there are also organizations that are ready to give seed capital. But you find that when I have my idea, the next thing I thought about it is, where do I get loan or where do I get money? And you see, for me to get this loan, for example, in a commercial bank, I must have had a relationship with that bank. So by the fact that I don't have a relationship with that bank, it means that I cannot get that loan. So what will happen? I just kill my dream or my idea. So I want to encourage people outside there that when you have your idea, don't kill it. Go outside there. There are grants. There are organizations that are ready to fund bankable ideas. We also have investors who are willing to invest in those feasible ideas. So there's a room for anybody to scale up or to grow their ideas. Yes.
And what's the cost of loans, in terms of the interest and all that, for somebody who has who need to go to the bank way? Some people do not have an option. Talking of, they don't know probably where to get the investors, where to find them, because some of these things, they say you need connections, right? So for somebody who the only way is through the bank or a SACCO or any financial institution, What's the cost, in terms of interest and all that? Has there been any plan to at least subsidize and be able to reduce the cost, the interest for SMEs?
Okay. First one, what I want to say is that the reason we are there as consultant for us to be able to advise. So if you're outside there and maybe you don't know where to go and yet you have the idea, our doors are always open. You can come in and we can be able to advise you. That's where we are as consultants. So the issue of the cost of the loan, you find that different commercial banks have different interest because the cap was lifted. Remember we had the interest was capped at 14%, but this one was lifted. So different commercial bank, including microfinance, including SACCOs, they have different interest that they charge for their loans. So at this point, what I would want to say for the SMEs, it is important, one, to understand your business, to understand at what stage your business is. Because Wambui, allow me to say this, that like the human being, the way a child is born today, you cannot give that child, for example, hard meal today. You need to give maybe milk, and which as the child grows, you introduce solid food, and like the same case with business. If I'm starting my business today, I should not think that I'm going to go for that loan, and especially the highest interest loan today, and yet I've started my business today. The business grows organically. So I want to tell SMEs, it is important to appreciate or to get to willing to know at what level my business is, so that when you're thinking of the loan that you're going for, you'll be able to know that this loan I'm going for is equivalent to the level of where my business is. What that one means is that I'll go for that loan. I know, first of all, I must identify the need. What is the need? Or the reason why I'm going for that loan? The need has to be very clear. That I'm not going for that loan for the sake of going for that loan, so that when the people are around the table and maybe they are discussing, they know about loan, I'll say, I also know about loan. No, you need to ascertain the reason why I'm going for this loan, and where am I going to put this loan, and what are the revenues out of this loan, and how my capacity, we call it the capacity, the capacity of the business, that is, that the business will be able to absorb that loan, and also it will be able to pay back. So what we are saying is that it is always important for the SMEs to appreciate the stage of their business, and therefore to ascertain which loan to go for. And because by the end of the day, this loan you need to pay back. And the reason for you ascertaining, you're supposed to appreciate that by the time I'm paying this loan, it's supposed to leave me in a better place. If my business was at this level, by the time I'm finishing to pay this loan, I should not be at a below level, I should be in another higher level. But all this, it calls for a very clear analysis before you go for your loan. And I want to tell SMEs outside there that loan is good for business, because every business requires a cash flow. Cash flow, we say, is the lifeblood of every business. But how you manage it is what is very important.
That's very good. You've answered my question. Is it viable, to fund a business on loan? Now, at what point does one need the debt? Because sometimes, I remember you've said identify the need, but at what point do you realize that you need to do the loan? Because some of the small business enterprises outside here, you take a loan, you're not able to pay, then you're there, you don't know what to do. At what point, as a consultant, at what point do you realize I need to get a loan?
So, Wambui, you find that when somebody is starting a business, we always advise you have a business plan. And a business plan is simple as you don't have to make it very technical. It's a very simple written document. It's very unfortunate that most of our SMEs, they write their business in the head, their business plan in the head. That's a tragedy. What I mean is that you need to write down your business plan. When you are doing your business plan, you're able to appreciate the objective in terms of growth. Do I want to grow vertically, for example? What I mean, for example, vertically, I'm doing a salon. Do I want to have more salons, for example? So I need to have, by the next 2 years or 3 years, I started with one, and I want to have branches of 2 or 3. Or do I want to, the one I've started, I now want to grow it from being a salon to a spa, so that's vertical growth. So it becomes very clear. So depending on what I put in my business plan, let's say, for example, it's vertical. My objective is vertical growth. So I'll be able to say that after 2 years, I'm supposed to have opened another branch. So it's after 2 years, I'll be able to see now I need to go and now open my second branch. So it's at that point I'll be able to see, depending on the money I have, do I need to go for a loan? But you see, Wamboi, if you have never had a business plan, if you don't get a point to know whether you are going backward or forward with your business, you'll find that you just wake up one day and you are like, oh, I think I need a loan. You just walk to the bank. The minute you're given your money and you have money with you, at that time you start asking yourself, what do I do with that money? That's where the SMEs goes wrong. Because by the time you're asking yourself, what do I do with this money? Already a certain percentage, it has gotten another need and it has been used. So by the end of the day, when you're supposed to pay your loan, it will be very difficult because that money you did not put it in the right place, only because you did not plan very well for your business. So it's at this point I want to say that SMEs, it is important for them to have a clear plan, a clear vision where they want to take their businesses, so that at any given time, somebody will know, what does my business need? Maybe I need loan, maybe I don't even need loan, I need to empower my staff, or maybe I need to relocate my business. You know, there are so many factors that contribute in terms of supporting business. And it's only that when you have a very clear vision that is written down, when you're writing your business plan, things becomes more clear in your mind. You have that clarity in your mind. And that one will help you to, at any given time, any move you are making, you can justify, where are you making this step regarding to your business. It's not that you have liked it. It's not that the things are looking like I need to do something. You have a very good reason. Why am I taking this action regarding my business? So that's a reason why it's important to have it written down.
Wow, very important information right there. And of course, guys, I hope you are learning and getting, you know, tips on how to go about your business if you have one. If you're planning to have one, you're in the right place. This is DGTV. Keep conversing with me on our social media platforms at DGTV KE, that's on Twitter, and DGTV Kenya on YouTube and on Facebook. So at this point, we take a short commercial break. Don't go too far. Welcome back. This is Money Monday with me, Wamboi Ngatia, and we're still here with Dr. Naomi Kagone, who is really educating us, you know, on matters loans. And the main topic here is SMEs in Kenya. And you are just talking about loans right here. Is it viable to you know, take a loan for your business? And she has been able to explain to us all that. And Dr. Naomi, how as much as we are doing the loans and all that, what can you do to your business to make it attractive to lenders as well as investors? Because I believe you are a consulting company, but you will not just look for an investor on behalf of somebody whose idea is not really, you know, so what is that thing that makes your business attractive?
Okay. Thank you, Amboy, for that question. About making your business, or what makes your business being attractive, is first of all understanding. When somebody, for example, when the bank is to give me a loan, what do they look for in my business? When an investor wants to invest in my business, what would he be looking for? So, for example, for the bank to give you loan, they have to look at your capacity. What I mean by capacity is the capacity for your business to absorb that loan. So, for example, if my net worth or the net value of my business, for example, is 200,000, I cannot go out there and ask for 2 million, for example.
That's right.
The bank would definitely know that out of my capacity, my business cannot absorb that. So, when I'm thinking to go for a loan, it is important to know the capacity of my business. What is this that my business can handle? Because the person who is going to give me loan will look at my capacity. The other one is the capability, ability even to pay that loan. Do I have the ability to pay that loan? So I'll ask myself that question, because the investor or maybe the bank will also ask themselves that question. When they are doing the analysis to see my credit worthiness, they'll be able to determine that. The other thing is about character, Wamboi, which is very, very important. And I want our people outside to appreciate this, that the character of a person is very, very key in terms of doing business. Your character cannot be contrary, and then you expect the financial institution or an investor to come and invest in your business. So what you're saying is that we must make our businesses attractive for loan by ensuring that we have the capacity, we have the capability, and our character is right in terms of doing business. What you mean that we are doing business that are legit when you're doing our businesses, and also our characters must be very right when you're doing our businesses. So the other thing is that what to make our new investor come to invest in my business, it's about the aligning of the vision and the mission of the business. It has to be very clear to our SMEs. What is the vision? What vision do you have for your business? And it has to be well written down. Remember I said about most of the SMEs, they have their business plan in their head. So an investor will not come and just sit down and you tell him verbally that this is my vision, this is my mission, these are my objectives, these are my core values, and therefore I want you to invest in my business. An investor wants to see that written document, and not only a written document, a bankable, a practical document that can be implemented, or else that is being implemented, so that an investor will look and see that your vision aligns with my vision. Because an investor, for example, who invests in the field of medicine, for example, the medical equipment, will not come to another business that is doing something different. For example, somebody who is doing manufacturing, so to say. So the vision, your vision of the business must align with the vision of the investor. So therefore, for you to make our business attractive, one, the vision must align with that vision of an investor, and also you must ensure that the principles that are required to sustain a business, they are well put in place. By so doing, the bank will come in and do the analysis and see that this is the money you can be given. I'm happy to know that the bank also do even a lot of due diligence. They want to know, for example, if you're moving to look for loan from one bank and maybe you've been relating with another bank, that bank want to know how was the relationship. Could you be, maybe you're running for a loan that you took and you didn't pay, and all that. So we have to ensure that our dealings, so to say, they are very clear they are very clean when you are doing our businesses. If in future you are looking forward to get that loan, we must be in a very good shape when we are doing our business. By so doing, we'll attract investors, and at the same time, when you go for a loan to the commercial banks or to SACCOs and maybe microfinance, they'll be able to finance us.
Wow. And what's the contribution of SMEs to the economy in our country today?
Oh boy. The contribution of SMEs is enormous to every country. One, in terms of job creation. For example, in our country, Kenya, over 70% of the jobs of the employment is created by SMEs, informal sector. So to say that the formal sector maybe take care of about 30 or 25%. So you can say in terms of job creation, SMEs contribute in a very big way. The other thing is in terms of the contribution, in terms of taxation, the SMEs, they pay taxes, various taxes we have in line of business.
That's right.
To the government. And by so doing, it means that when the government collects that taxes, it's able to provide services that are required to facilitate business. So SMEs play a very big role in terms of the economic development. And I'm happy to see that even during time of COVID, as much as most of the businesses, they didn't survive, there are those that survived, and apparently even more businesses were started. I'm happy to say that most of those people who were employed, I think COVID came in as a wake-up call, and they realized that, hey, my friend, I need to think that I need to appreciate that this job can come to an end. So I need to some are calling it side hustle, and others have been, they were completely pushed out of the employment by COVID because of the downsizing, and therefore they were forced to go out and start their businesses. So you can see that we can also say that it's also a fallback. When somebody is not in formal employment, they fall back to SMEs or to do business. I also want to say that business SMEs also, it's also part of life. You'll find that when somebody is not in school, the next thing they do, they're either in employment or they are doing business. So it's also part of life.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, and what can SMEs do to provide quality jobs? Quality jobs in terms of, what they do, the income they give to their employees. Because I believe as a small business enterprise, now that as the name sounds, small business enterprise, you got your employees. Most likely you find their income is not, really sustainable for them. So what can they do to provide quality jobs?
What I would say as an employer in SMEs, maybe because of the size of your business, you're not able to pay as the employee would expect. But I would say when you are employed, now I'm talking to those who are employed by the SMEs, you are paid in twice. You are paid through experience and through the pay you're being paid. I would say that the SMEs that are employing, they have their employees, they mentor. It's not, it's good to pay money, but also you can pay in kind. I want to say that SMEs, they're supposed to be outside there also to mentor their employees to become better people in terms of doing businesses, to also encourage them, telling them that now I've employed you in my shop, but I know that we will not be with you here forever, but I want you, by the time you're leaving my business, you'll have learned the skills of doing business. For example, how to engage with the suppliers, how to engage with customers, how to keep promises, what you promise to the customer, make sure that you deliver, how to handle annoyed client, sometimes the client is not satisfied. So if this employee is able to pick up those skills, you are sure that this person, even when they leave my shop now and they go to start their own business, they'll be able to run their businesses. Yes.
Wow. Generally, what would you say is like the state of SMEs in Kenya? Like generally, maybe one of them is the employment part and the quality. According to your research, you're a researcher, and I know you research a lot, and now that you're very passionate about SMEs, what could you say is the state? What are your findings about the state of SMEs in our country?
I would say that the state is not that so bad, neither is it so good. What I mean that it's not so bad, it's because SMEs are there because there is need. Every SME is supposed to be solving a problem. So I want to ask the SMEs owner outside there, it has to be very clear, which problem are you solving? For example, you've decided to sell animal feeds, for example. Did you ascertain that there is need for animal feeds? So I'll say that the status is good and bad at the same time. One, because it is good because there are needs outside there, there are wants outside there. So for any business, supposed to be solving a problem. And because there's a problem, that means you're in business. You're supposed to be in business, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that I'll say that the status is not so good. Most of SMEs are struggling. One, in terms of taxation. We have so many taxation in terms of businesses. Also, some of the SMEs are not able to take advantage or to use online services. Not all of them, they have the knowledge in terms of online. And every business now, it has to be online. If you want to buy something, you don't have to go to looking for physical shop.
That's right.
You only need to go to online and you look for whatever you're looking for. Most of the people that are in SMEs, they have not been able to embrace the technology. So that means they are struggling. You find that there are also some services that they are looking for. Either they are fragmented, they don't get them in one-stop shop, so they move from one office maybe to another looking for those services, so they find themselves struggling. But I would say that the status is good, and at the same time, they're also struggling one or another. But what makes somebody keep moving it's what drives you. And what should be driving every SMEs is the problem you are coming to solve. Because the idea you have, it must be informed by a problem in the society, and you are looking to solve that problem. So until that problem is completely solved, you'll say that now you're out of business. So everybody is out there to solve a problem.
All right. it.
Yes.
And maybe what are the trends that you see in SMEs as a business consultant? I'm sure you've gotten so many questions from the SMEs. What are some of the trends? Maybe it can be the good ones and the bad ones at the same time, that maybe you would advise somebody out there, don't do this, instead do that.
So one of the trends that is very significant outside there is that our small businesses are not living to celebrate their 5th birthday. They are dying at a very early stage. When somebody start a kiosk here, outside here, within a year or so, they have closed their business. As somebody start, we have also seen a trend of supermarkets closing in our country.
That's right.
So that's one of the trends that I would say that our SMEs, they are not living to celebrate their 5th birthday. They are dying at a very early stage. So it's our duty and our responsibility as consultants to really get to know the factors that are leading to that. And also it's the duties of SMEs and the business owner to want to move out of that comfort zone, and they seek services and the support that are required, so to ensure that their businesses survive the 5th birthday. And I would say that if any business live to celebrate its 5th birthday, it is now grounded and is grow even to become a medium and then to a bigger company. Yes.
Any positive?
Yes, a positive in terms of many have been opened also. So that is a positive thing, because now we're having so many other people getting to employ themselves. And you see the importance of self-employment. Wamboi, you get to exploit your full potential. Because Wamboi, an entrepreneur has to go to work extra hours, for example. An entrepreneur has to embrace the loss and or the profit. So they are positive in it, that we have most of them started, they are being started, that are plus, and therefore we have people exploiting their potential and creating more employment.
Wow. So maybe you can talk about the impact of supply chain in SMEs, especially. I know there are people who do tenders here and there, you know, the issue of government delaying their payments and all that. So they find themselves, going bankrupt, even some of them, because of the expectations that didn't come forth. Maybe you can talk about that particular impact.
Thank you, Amboy. It's very unfortunate to say that SMEs, or small and medium enterprises, they have reached to a point whereby they have done supplies, for example, even to the county government, some of them. Remember we had a directive from His Excellency, our President, to have all the county government clear the bills. Because we find that there are some SMEs who, by the time they are doing their supplies, some have even gotten loans from the banks to do those supplies.
That's right.
And we have incidents, even some people who have even fallen sick because they were not paid in good time. The bank is on their neck, and then they are not able to settle their bills. And by the end of the day, some have even suffered sickness to that, and even others have even closed their businesses. It's very unfortunate. And also you find that when you talk of the supply chain, there is no business that is a standalone. These big companies are supported by the SMEs, by the small businesses. So I would want to say that it is important that either the county government or these big companies, when they are supplied by the SMEs, if the agreement is a payment to be done within 90 days, for example, as myself as an SMEs, I know that I've applied and I'm supposed to be paid. I'll be paid after 90 days. I'm also supposed to have also planned myself that within the 90 days, I'll be able to run my business comfortably until that payment is done. But and on the other hand, either the county government or those big companies, they also need to plan on their side to ensure that they have paid this supplier in good time, so that by the end of the day, this supplier will be able to run the business. And also, we have seen that the issue of the supply chain, the COVID-19 really affected this. You remember there's a time that nothing could have been imported or exported during that COVID time because the supply chain was cut in terms because of the travel and all that. So you can see that the role of SMEs in terms of supply, it's very key. But also the big companies, the county government, for example, and other agencies, when they are supplied by the SMEs, they also need to ensure that they are able to clear those bills in good time so that they don't suffocate the SMEs. And at the same time, these SMEs will be able to continue with the business.
Maybe in 1 minute you can talk about a few tips on how to manage the cash flow so that you don't find yourself going bankrupt. You know, you've been waiting for the government to pay, you haven't been paid yet, or you took a loan, you haven't been able to manage. What are the tips to manage your cash flow? Okay,
thank you, Amboy. The tips of managing the cash flow, one is to be very clear with the activity you are undertaking. Wamboy, I want to talk to the SMEs. Any activity, you're supposed to see its end from the beginning. We say Oliver and Omega. Wamboy, any activity I'm going to, for example, you want to do a construction. I'm supposed to see that, to sit down and take an account on that construction, that I'm going to do a room here. I'm supposed to see how much is it going to cost from the beginning to the end, so that by the I'll be able to ask myself, do I have enough money to do this? If I don't have enough money, it means that I should not touch it. Because what happens is that we over-engage ourselves. SMEs over-engage themselves with so many activities. Some of them, they call them deals. You hear there's something that is look like lucrative in one corner. It was not in your business plan. It was not in your list of to-do list. But because your friend or your partner came to you and just told you there's something like this, you just jump into it. That one will get you into a bankruptcy. Because Waboy, as I said from the beginning, business is very organic. Business is alive. Business is like human being. One boy, if a baby cannot take, for example, hard food within a week, the same case with business. The field of consultancy in terms of business is very wide, and we consult in terms of training, as you have mentioned. We do a lot of research, we do a lot of seminars, workshop, and through exhibition is one of part of our consultancy through market linkages. We call it market linkages, because by the end of the day, these SMEs, even when they are coming to exhibit, they also get leads. They also get prospects when they're exhibiting. And therefore, it means that if they get those prospects, if they get those leads, now they'll do the follow-up, and after that, they'll be able to market their products or their services. So this is something, and especially after COVID, where most of the business, they were so enclosed, they were just within themselves, even some had even given up, you know. We found that we now present them with a platform whereby they'll also interact with other business leaders.
Okay, sorry to cut you short, but our time is almost over. Please, could you please tell us who is eligible to any charges for the exhibition, so that somebody, in case they want to come next time, they can, you know, how can they come? Okay, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Amboy. In fact, let me not call it charges. It's just facilitation fee for us to be able to facilitate your comfort when you're exhibiting.
Okay.
Yeah, you just say small facilitation fee.
All right.
Maybe for a tent or other requirement that you may need during those few days when you're exhibiting.
Yeah. So where can somebody find you in case they want to consult on something, especially business? And I had somebody say, you know, these people who consult, we consult on business. Are they doing business themselves? So you're in business as well? Okay, thank you. Me personally, I'm in business. Okay. I'm in transport, public transport. All right. So I preach what I do. Wow, that's very interesting. Where can we find you? That's your camera, maybe your number if you're okay, and your socials.
Okay, thank you so much. Our physical office, you have it in Rilo CK building, room 139. We're also in social media as Poise Business Developing Consulting Limited, Facebook and Instagram.
Wow, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for, I know you had a lot, you know, meetings here and there, but you made time and created time to come. So we really, really appreciate your time and your sacrifice. So guys, that's all we had for today. Thank you so much for those of you who have been with us online. Thank you for joining us. Remember, in case you have a question or anything, the SMS line to use is 0791300105. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Wamboy Ngatia.